Northern Nigerian, or rather northern states, are divided over the recent call by the Northern Elders Forum for the federal government to declare a state of emergency in the region to combat rising insecurity. While states like Zamfara, Kano and Kaduna expressed varying degrees of support.
Although I must state that I am not a fan of how he has fared in terms of how he handles security. Nor am I a fan of especially the recent comment by the Plateau State governor trying to make it look as if it's a communal issue. It's not. The disagreement, I'm sure, would stem from the fact that the Northern Elders Forum's attitude towards matters of insecurity makes it odd that they are calling for a declaration of a state of emergency. When the military escalates its aggression against non-state actors, one thing that is characteristic is you begin to hear people talking about killing of innocent people. A typical example is each time the military uses air power, the Air Force launches an attack, there is always that story about they are killing innocent people. And I think about 3-4 times, an attack somewhere between the border of Nasarawa and Benue, another one in Kaduna, another one when the Lakurawas began using armed drones to attack the military, all of which the military would argue that no, these are terrorists, we've monitored this region. Then you find elders, you find clerics, you find politicians saying they are civilians. Okay. So it's a bit odd.
Yeah.
When they say the state of emergency should be declared, exactly how somebody from Benue or any part of the Middle Belt interprets it would explain why possibly he had objected to that. But like I said, I am not a fan of how he has handled security. Most likely he wants to sustain.
Zariyi, let's talk about that objection. Let's talk about that pushback that we always get from Benue State when it comes to Northern Alliance, when it comes to the call for state of emergency. What do you think the historical marginalization might be, and how does it play into this resistance for Northern Alliance calls for state of emergency?
When President Bola Ahmed Tinubu visited Benue, of course, the Tortif made a profound point that the attacks are not communal, it's a terrorist attack, it's expansionist in nature. That differed a little with the position the governor took, because he was he wasn't sincere about the figures. He beat them down to just a little over 50 when there were over 200 people that killed. And he continues to insist it is not what it is. It's not a genocide. He continues to insist it's not a it's not a case of a terrorist attack. To a large extent, he was holding brief on behalf of, the attackers. So himself, the president, and unfortunately, the chief of defense staff made it look as if it was just a matter of economic issues. People are hungry, and then they go to attack people to find their source of livelihood. Now, the political dimension of it is his fear of a state of emergency being declared in Benue, looking at the massive casualties, being left after every Islamist attack. So the likelihood could be that what the Northern Elders Forum are calling for might spotlight certain parts of the North Central, Benue particularly, and perhaps recommendations might come to declare a state of emergency, which is not something he wants. So I think his resistance, other than, of course, the historic differences that have always lingered between the Northern, the Ariwa, and the Middle Belt, I think his resistance might come from the fear that, perhaps a state of emergency would be declared.
Okay,
and I think he's just playing politics with matters of life and death.
Now, we also heard that the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mufta, he described Nigeria's lingering insecurity crisis as a problem created by the elite, or rather sustained actually by the elite. I don't know what you make of that.
Well, when he says sustained by the elites, I would agree if he does not disconnect it with the matter of ideology, Islamism, basically, because the people doing what they are doing are pursuing a jihad. So the elite who maintain that ideology created that problem and they are sustaining it. But when he makes it appear like a problem of elites and gives it a bit of a political dimension and then makes it look like intercommunal. On the plateau, on the Benue, in the Middle Belt entirely, we don't have such communal clashes. There might be disputes, but nobody picks up arms, nobody rapes women, nobody kills in mass, nobody destroys crops. Usually they are settled either by the police or in courts because of how bonded we are, together as a people. But when he mentions that and then he slips into intercommunal, then I think it's an unfortunate statement because that would be him trying to lend his voice to suppress the fact of a genocide of his own people. And that basically is how I see it. Well, so when he says elite, it would be the elite that carry the ideology of these killings, but not communal in the sense that he wants to put it.
Zariyi Yusuf, always a pleasure having you on the news to give us your very clear, insightful opinion. Thank you.